That's a lot of good-looking people there. This is great. It's a great honor to be with you, and I want to thank everyone and welcome you to the most spectacular place, the White House. It's just an amazing place to live and to work in, and you know, I've seen a lot of good places, but believe me, there's nothing like this. It's just very special, and it's great to have you here to celebrate Women's History Month. That's a big deal. And today we honor the legacy of incredible women like Betsy Ross, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony, Clara Barton, and Amelia Earhart, all legends. And their extraordinary courage and patriotism and devotion propelled our nation to glory and to greatness. They are great women, many great women. And thank you for the vote. You were very nice to me. The women were... We set every record. We loved it. We loved that vote. But we're delighted to be joined by some of the pioneering women who are making history in our own time. A woman that's just absolutely incredible. I can't tell you enough about her. She ran my campaign. We kept winning. And then we did well, where she won Florida by record numbers. And I said, you know, the second time I said, well, just keep running Florida. And the big one was stolen from us, you know. So I said, we better get her for number 3. And we won in records. We won every swing state. We won by millions of votes, the popular vote. We won everything. We won the districts at 2,750 to 507 or something like that. And we just won so big. And her name is Susie Wiles. And she, where are you, Susie? And she was just named by one of the very prominent media groups. I won't mention it because I cannot stand the people, but she was just named as, and it's true, the most powerful woman in the world. Susie, that is crazy, huh? That's a big, her father was a great, Pat Summerall, a great announcer, really great football player and announcer for the NFL for like 27 years. He really got the NFL. He did pretty well with the NFL. He got him off to a very good start, didn't he? But he was great. But she's got those same traits. So thank you very much, Susie. Great job. Also, we're going to go to somebody that's really the rage right now. She's the youngest ever White House press secretary, Caroline Levitt. Caroline, look at you, huh? They said, sir, she's just too young. And I said, I don't know about that. She did awfully good because she did it during the campaign and she was awfully good. And she's been amazing. She just did another one just a little while ago. She looked at Susie and looked at me. I don't know. I think I'm ready, sir. How old are you? 27, right? 27. And I said, you're not too young. And she's knocking them dead. Everyone's talking about you. Thank you very much. Great job. And we have somebody else who's like a rocket ship, the counselor to the president. She served me well. I'm going to miss her, but we'll see a lot of her anyway. I hope it's on a friendly basis because I've got to be very concerned because she's going to be the new U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey. Alina, where's Alina Habba? Alina Habba. Thanks, Alina. She's going to be great. I'll tell you, she's going to be great. She's a great lawyer. And lives in New Jersey. And I said, that sounds like a good combination. Everybody wanted that job. They're all looking for the job. I said, wait a minute, doesn't Alina live in New Jersey? Yeah, I think Alina's going to get that job. So congratulations, Alina. It's fantastic. I'm also thrilled to say that we have more women in our cabinet than any Republican president in the history of our country. And joining us today is a woman I've known a long time. You talk about strong women. This is a strong woman. Remember, they were saying, he doesn't like strong women. That may be true, but if that's true, I'm in deep trouble because I'm surrounded. I got the strongest women. And this is a beautiful, strong, wonderful woman. Attorney General Pam Bondi. But yesterday, you know, she was talking about these guys that like burning down cars and plants and everything else. And I was watching her on television. She said, I'm going to get you, we're going to find you, and you're going to suffer. And I say, man, I don't want her after me. And you know, it's amazing. The attacks have gone down very, very precipitously. So Pam is fantastic. Thank you very much, Pam. Really amazing. Along with a woman who was given a very hard and difficult problem, the cost of eggs. This was the problem. The cost of eggs. Eggs were through the roof. If you got to see the Biden chart, it's like a rocket ship, and Trump is like this way. But I gave Brooke the Secretary of Agriculture, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. She studied that in college. I didn't know that. I was going to give it to her anyway. It didn't matter that she studied, but it sort of helped, right? But she came in and she lowered the cost of eggs by almost 50% in 3 weeks. Right? Someday you're going to tell us that secret. I want to find out. But the chart looks great. It's Biden like this, and then we're like this. But we also, by the way, we lowered energy costs really like tremendously. Energy's way down. Cost of gasoline's way down. The cost of groceries, a word that I used a lot on the campaign. It's like an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word, very descriptive word. And the groceries are coming down, Brooke, at a level that we're finally getting costs under control in our country, and people don't like talking about it because it's so good, it's so positive. I haven't seen one story on eggs plummeting by 50%, but someday they'll get around to writing it. Secretary of Education, she's trying to put herself out of a job. Linda, she's trying to put herself out of a job. She's moving education back to the states, and she's doing it at a rapid rate, and she's an amazing woman. I've known her also for a long time. She's been amazing. No matter where she's been successful, including with her husband building a tremendous empire. And Linda McMahon is very special. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. And it's getting praised, by the way, the concept of moving education back to the states, back to the mothers and the fathers. And you probably do it for less than half, and you're going to have great, great schools. You know, I say that in our country, they have charts, and they rate the countries, various countries, and Norway and Denmark and Sweden and lots of places are rated at the top. And Finland, China's rated very high, too. Tell me, that takes the big problem out, because if they can do it, that's big, so we can do it. And we're rated toward the bottom. We're at number 37, 38, 39, or 40 out of 40. So we're just about last. And yet we're first in one very nice category, cost per pupil. So obviously there's something wrong. We just have to repeat that, Linda. And everybody says, well, I guess it's time to do it. And it's been that way for a long time. And originally we had it run by home state, so we never had that kind of a problem. But it's going to be, Katie, it's going to be brought back again. And Linda's going to do it. And I just say, you know, she said, you basically want me to get out of government, don't you? I said, that's right. Do your job and get out. But I promise I'll have something else for you, okay? I promise I'll have something even better for you, all right? But you're doing a job, and we appreciate it. Also, a special man. He's got a tremendous majority. It's so easy, a majority of about one. I think he's the only man could do the job because everybody loves him. Everybody respects him. He's really smart. He's so nice. People say, is he smart? I said, you have no idea. He's actually, you know, he's really nice because he's smart. He knows it's the only way you can live with it. Where is Mike? Mike. It's the only way you can do it. He's the nicest guy. But in actuality, he's not a nice person. He's ruthless. You haven't seen this guy when he gets angry. I'll ruin your image overnight. He is a phenomenal guy. Our great speaker, Mike Johnson. Thank you very much. I don't know. Is that good or bad for you? I'm not so sure. It's okay. He said, whatever the heck you want to say is okay. First female Republican Attorney General of Iowa and an early supporter of Trump. And where's Brenna Bird? Brenna, thank you very much. She's so popular in Iowa. She came out so early, and I appreciate it very much. That's great. Alaska Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom. Nancy, thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. You have a great governor, too, by the way, Nancy. He's also tall. He's seriously tall. I mean, the guy's like 7'2". He is a tall guy, but he's a great governor. I have a son who's tall like him. And Barron is very tall. They're all tall, but Barron's seriously tall, right? So anyway, say hello to him. He's a great governor. South Carolina Lieutenant Governor, Pamela Evett. Where is Pamela? Thank you very much. Good job you're doing. Great job. Good. And good luck with everything. I know it's big stuff, right? Oh, good. Thank you. Well, you have a great governor. Oklahoma Agricultural Commissioner, Blaine Arthur. Blaine. Thank you, Blaine. Good. Nice to see you. And so many other incredible women. I'm going to make so many enemies because I'm looking here. I know every one of them, and I'm supposed to say their names. Maybe we'll get to it. I don't know. It's a long list. For 4 long years, we had an administration that tried to abolish the very concept of womanhood and replace it with radical gender ideology. Maybe you heard something about that. They destroyed women's spaces and even tried to replace the word mother with the term birther person. A mother became a birther person. What's that all about? Then you wonder why they lost. They're trying to figure out why did they lose. I saw a congressman today for the Democrats. He was having a big fight on television early this morning, trying to make it so that really he thinks men should play in women's sports. He hasn't given that up yet. He was fighting like crazy. I said, this guy is going to lose. He's going to lose badly. The whole party is still into that. They haven't learned and we don't want them to learn, frankly. We want them to keep fighting. Let's not tell them. Under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, and you had a war on women, and we're protecting women's rights, defending women's dignity, and standing up for the American moms and daughters. So many are represented here, great people in this room. American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and women. We have a lot of men that are like Howard, our head of commerce, I see is here. What are you doing here, Howard? Oh, that's a good, he's got his beautiful wife here. I was saying, what's Howard doing here? It's like, there aren't too many men in this audience, actually. But he's a big advocate, and we're going to be making right after this, we're going to be making a big special announcement, Howard and I and Scott and a few other people on cars. We have Liberation Day in America. That's where we take back all of this money that's been ripped off from us for so many decades, and we start a process. We're going to go with the tariffs on cars, and as you've probably been reading, it's all over the place. You've been reading and seeing and watching car companies and every other form of company. They're pouring back into our country at levels never seen before. We're up to, I guess, close, Howard, to $5 trillion of investments already, and there's never been that much for a year. We did that in a period of 6 weeks. There's never been any numbers like that we've never seen. They're all coming. They're all coming in so they don't have to pay tariffs. It's very simple, because if you build your product in the USA, there is no tariff. On day one, I made the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. So, is there anybody, seriously, is there anybody that disagrees with that in this room? I was thinking maybe somebody from the press might raise their hand. I don't think so. There aren't too many people. You know, it's amazing. It's got to be like a 98% issue, right? So what are they doing, Marjorie? What are they doing? They're fighting for a 2% issue. That's good. Let them keep doing it. No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman. And that's why last month I proudly signed a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports, and it was very popular and very popular. We had a track meet, and it was so disparaging to great women athletes. I've known so many great women athletes. I gave Annika Sorenstam the Medal of Freedom here not so long ago, and these are unbelievable athletes, but it's so ridiculous. They had a track meet, and you heard me talking about long distance track meet. The man won by 5 hours and 14 minutes and 12 seconds. And I said, this is not good. And you want to see worse? Take a look at the weightlifting records. Take a look at the boxing. Take a look at this. The whole thing is ridiculous. And frankly, it's demeaning to women. And you are superior to men, in my opinion. What do I know? You are. I see you. No, they are superior. I've known it all my life, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy. I also banned puberty blockers. Can you believe I'm even saying this? And the sexual mutilation of minor youth. Now, who would think, let's go back 10 or 15 years. If you ever heard a statement like that, you'd say, what the hell is he even talking about, right, Brooke? What is he talking about? Puberty blockers. But that's where we are. That's where we've come, and we're ending it. We're sending it back to where it came from, oblivion, right? So in the recent election, we did fantastically well with women. I kept hearing, women don't like them. I said, I think they do. Don't like, fake polls don't like me. That's who don't like me. But we're setting records in so many of these cases. And I was for women. I was for the women, the suburban housewife, where I stopped low-income housing projects from being built at a house next to you, where people were being decimated. The houses were being literally ripped up and destroyed. And I stopped it, and we've stopped it again. We had to stop it again. I stopped it first term. We had a great first term, a really successful first term. We had the largest increase in stock market value, 88% increase in the history of our country. We gave you the biggest tax cuts. We gave you the biggest regulation cuts. We rebuilt our military. We gave too much of it away to Afghanistan, this character. He gave billions and billions of dollars of it away to Afghanistan. And maybe we'll have to ask for that back, although it's getting a little old now. They're getting a little old. We're building new stuff. But I will say that it was such an honor working with so many great women. I've worked with women all my life. I've always been ahead on that subject. I had women in my construction business putting up skyscrapers in New York 30 years ago, 35 years ago, long before it was in vogue. And they were phenomenal. Every one of them was phenomenal. My administration listens to America's moms, and that's why I recently created the Presidential Commission to make America healthy again, and that's really caught on. That's really caught on. And Bobby Kennedy, by the way, is doing a great job. I think it's going to go down as another great choice. And we just don't want to treat the chronic disease crisis. We want to prevent our children from getting sick in the first place. And there are so many things that we are doing wrong. Something happened. If you go back 20 years, autism, think of it, 1 in 20,000 children. Think of that, 1 autism. You see it all over. 1 in 20,000 children. Now it's 1 in 36 children. Now, what the hell is that all about? There's something out there, and we got to find it. But can you imagine 1 in 20,000, and now it's 1 in 36, not 36,000, 1 in 36 children. And I see it all the time. And so there's something out there, and we're going to find it. We're doing something really wrong, and it might be very simple to even correct, but we're looking very hard, and Bobby's looking very hard, and we're going to figure it out. And to further support our nation's mothers, I've signed an executive order to expand access to fertility treatments like IVF. That's Katie. Where's Katie? Katie called your great senator from Alabama. She called, and she was like in a little bit of angst, right? She said, "Sir, we just had a ruling from an Alabama judge who said you couldn't have the clinics IVF." And I was in my plane, and she said, it's terrible. Friends of mine are virtually attacking me, and said, because they're not really, people don't talk about it necessarily, and why should they? But Katie called me up. She did such a great job, and she said, sir, you have to get on this right away. It's terrible. They're going to close up all the clinics. They ordered all the clinics closed. And I said, so Katie, give me a quick definition, please. Educate me in a minute or less. And she did. And I came out totally in favor of what all of these women wanted. And it became our issue. We actually took it away, Mike, from the Democrats. They were late to the party, and it was really, I give you a lot of credit, so thank you very much. Thank you, Katie. Great job. And I also signed an executive order to begin abolishing the Department of Education, as we said, but also to go back and do things with our school children that just hasn't been done in many, many years. But the basic is reading, writing, and arithmetic, and we want to make sure that they teach English, okay? But I think we're not going to have a problem, and you're going to see things happen, I think, on the education front like nobody can believe. It's very exciting. Very exciting. And so many of the states like Iowa and Idaho and Indiana, by the way, unrelated, but Indiana, they just signed Honda, one of the biggest auto plants in the world, is going. Honda, big company, would have never come here except for, let's say, the election. I like to say the election result, but let's give tariffs a little. Well, without the election result, you wouldn't have the tariffs, right? So I guess it's all about the election, Marjorie. But one of the biggest anywhere in the world. They're building in Indiana, big plant, and we have many of them going up. Many plants in other countries have stopped. They've stopped construction. One of them, right in the middle of construction, they just signed a contract. They're going to build it here instead. So you're going to see that at record. Just remember, I told you so in 12 months from now. But on day one, we're ending the inflation nightmare that Joe Biden created and caused, but just by his spending. Two things, his spending, but I think more important, he destroyed our energy policy. And energy started going up, gasoline, any form of energy went through the roof. And then what he did to get it down a little bit, he went back to the Trump policy. Everything, let him drill, let him. They were very, very concerned. And it was too late because that jackrabbit had gotten out of the nest. And it was too late. They really screwed us up in so many ways. How about allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country, open borders, people from all over the world, not South America, but all over the world. They came in from Africa, from Asia, from all over the world, from prisons. The prisons were emptied into our country. I call them prisons and jails, prison being a slightly tougher term, but the prisons and jails were emptied into our country. The mental institutions and insane asylum, same thing. Insane asylum is mental institution on steroids, right? I used to say Dr. Hannibal Lecter, the great Dr. Hannibal Lecter is in a hotel room near you. And the fake news back there, a lot of fake news here, by the way. Fake news would say, why does he keep mentioning Hannibal Lecter? I said, you know why? Because we just won an election. We got a lot of votes because of Hannibal Lecter. We don't want to have Hannibal Lecter in our country. So we watched what was happening to destroy our country. And a woman, by the way, the head of Homeland, Christie is doing a great job. Kristi Noem. She's doing a great job. She's getting them out. And Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, they're doing an unbelievable job. She's tough. She might be tougher than Tom. Is that pretty tough, right? I'd say Tom is central casting, but he says, I think she might be tougher than me. So we needed that because she's dealing with a rough group of people. Millions and millions of people. 21 million people came in, but of that, at least 3 million are serious criminals. Many of them are murderers, 11,088. And of that number, about half have murdered more than one person. This is not going to end well. So we're getting them out in record numbers, and we're having a lot of problems with the courts because the courts want to pretend they're president. And they're not president. They didn't get 80 million votes, and they're not. They can't do that to this country. That's not their job. But we're getting them out in record numbers, and it's going to save a lot of lives. We got some really bad people in this country, but you see the ones we're taking out. Trendy Aragua, the toughest of all gangs, MS-13. And we're getting them out. So in just 2 months, core inflation has dropped to its lowest pace in 4 years. We've got it going down. The groceries that I told you about, and energy of all kinds, gasoline, that's fallen below now $3. $3 for the first time in years since I was there. It's fallen below $3. We're going to get it down quite a bit lower. That's going to bring prices still further down, and people are going to be able to buy their groceries again, and so important. And again, I want to just congratulate you, Brooke. What a job you've done over there with the eggs. I was in office. I was in office for 1 week, and I got this one article was so bad that Donald Trump has caused a massive egg problem. And I said, this is, and they showed it. It's like, terrible. But it was during his term that it went up, right? And but they were hammering me. They thought they had us until I put you in that position. And I don't know what the hell magic wand you use. And now they don't talk about it anymore. It's terrible. Well, we'll talk. We have to talk about it, If they don't talk about it, we talk about it, right, Brooke? But what a job you've done. Now we need Congress to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and Mike is going to get that. And I think we can finally say one big, beautiful bill, because everybody's there. I spoke with John Thune, who's doing a terrific job also, and the senators, and we want one big, beautiful bill. Just put it all in that bill, and we'll figure a way to have it passed, right? We'll figure a way. But it'll be the largest tax cuts in American history. When you add that onto the fact that if they don't pass this, you will have the largest tax increase by far, because the tax increase that I passed 5 years ago, the biggest in history, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts, what happens is that jumps back to where they used to be. So if you add that onto the other normal tax increases that the Democrats want to give, this would be the largest tax increase in history by 58% or more, I guess, but 58%. And I don't know how anybody can vote for a Democrat, but I know one thing, that I believe the Democrats are going to be forced to help vote for this bill. And then we have the very important continuation of debt. I don't call it a debt increase, because we're not looking to increase. We want to just continue that line, and we should call it, I think, from now on, Mike, we're going to call it the continuation, because that's what it is. That was thrown into our lap unnecessarily, but we have it, and it's fine that we have it. But I think we're going to get tremendous support even from Democrats, because otherwise they're voting for the biggest tax increase in history by far, by, I think, 38 points. And I don't think they're going to want to do that. So, Mike, I hear you're doing great on it. And we're going to have tremendous goodies in the bag for women, too. The women, between the fertilization and all of the other things that we're talking about, it's going to be great. We're joined today, fertilization. I'm still very proud of it. I don't care. I'll be known as the fertilization president, and that's okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. I've been called much worse. Actually, I like it, right? I like it. Thank you. We're joined today by many of the women members of the House and Senate who make up so much and make this all happen. And I especially want to recognize the leaders of the brand new Republican Women's Caucus, Senator Katie Britt. Again, Katie, thank you. Thank you, Katie. Great job you do. And Representative Kat Kamek, who just announced a new baby girl. That's good. I also want to say driving force behind the effort to create a women's history museum, working very much with some of the women in this room. I'm not sure if it's been discussed specifically, but to create a women's museum on the National Mall. And we have a great site. I'm very good at real estate, We have a great site. And Nicole Maliotakis is here someplace. Where's Nicole? And she is really working hard on this one. This is a passion for you, and you're working. It's a big, beautiful. She said it's going to be a big, beautiful museum. Well, it has to be. If it's for women, it better be big and beautiful, or we're in trouble, right? But we're working on that. Also here, I just have this list, and they're incredible people, so I have to do it. Otherwise, I'll be run out of town. I don't have the courage not to do it. Senator Marsha Blackburn. Marsha, thank you very much. So incredible. Unbelievable talent. Senator Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst. Where's Joni? Hi, Joni. I owe you a call. I'll call you. Okay? Deb Fisher just won a great race, Nebraska. Thank you, Deb. Great race, Deb. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. Oh, we love Cindy Hyde. Thank you, Cindy Hyde. She said, sir, could you do a rally for me? I said, yeah, I'll do a rally for you. I get there. Sir, could you do 2 more for me? I did. We did 3 and we blew him out, right? It was an Obama sycophant. We blew him out of the water, right, Cindy Hyde? So thank you. And Senator Ashley Moody, congratulations. Where is Ashley? Congratulations, Ashley. Also, Representative, and this one is tough. She's tough. Lisa McLean. She's tough and good. She's a good one. She's a real leader. Thank you. Great job, Lisa. Representative Stephanie Bice. Thank you very much. Thank you. Where's Stephanie? Thank you very much, darling. Sherry Biggs. Hi, Sherry. Good. Lauren Boebert. Great people. Monica De La Cruz. Monica De La Cruz. Hi, Monica. Good job. Julie Fedorchak. Hi, Julie. Great. Nice to see you. A person that is more experienced than anybody, and she's still a young woman, very young, Virginia Fox. Virginia. What a good woman, right, Mike? A quiet woman, but she, underneath that quiet facade, she's a tiger. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Highly respected woman, I tell you. Thanks, Marjorie. Great woman. Diana Harshbarger. Where are you, Diana? Thank you. Good job with your son, too. Thank you. Ashley Hinton. Ashley. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Good job. Erin Houchin. Thank you, Erin. Thank you very much. Laurel Lee. Laurel, thank you. Good job. Julia Letlow. Good. Nice seeing you, Julia. She's done a great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Anna. Good. Nice to see you. Another quiet one, Nancy Mace. Hi, Nancy. Great job. And Nicole, I said hello to you and your museum, and you get that going, and we're going to back it 100%, unless the women here would rather not have a... Is anybody not in favor of a women's museum in this room, please? It's okay. I could see some, maybe they want to save a couple of bucks, right? No takers. Okay, you're all set. You have it then, I guess. I sort of thought that was going to happen. Celeste Malloy. Celeste, thank you. Great job. Carol Miller, great election. Thank you, Carol. Great job, Carol. A friend of mine, a beautiful person, a beautiful family. It's like she's got children. They're all supermodels, male and female. Handsome husband. Mary Miller. Mary. How's it going? Okay, good. Mary Miller's a really spectacular person and a great congresswoman. Thank you very much. 22nd grandchild. Look at her. It's one of the most beautiful families. It really is. Starting with you, it's just a beautiful family. So you have a long way to go, Kat. Come on, you have to get going. Marionette Miller Meeks, great election you had. Great election. Great job. Oh, Maria Salazar, where is Maria? She is strong. She's a tough one, but they love her. We all love her. Thank you. Another one who's really good. I got to know her very well, along with Mike. We were having some talks, and she really knows what she's talking about. She was right 100%. Victoria Spartz. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much. And Beth Van Dyne, who's fabulous. Hi, Beth. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's such a great group of people. And there's others in there. I'm going to get killed. I know. You're for me and I'm for you. That's true. Can you imagine there are others? I'm sitting and looking at others. I'm going to be in trouble. That's the problem. When you do that, you leave a couple of them out. They never speak to you again. They never. Now we need Congress to pass the largest tax cuts, and we are going to get that done. And we're joined today by so many people that are just so great. And we are going to have a little bit of a celebration after this is finished in one of the outer rooms. They have some stuff for the women, much better. We did this for men. And, you know, it's very unexciting having a day for men. I stood up here, it was like I reduced the speech from 10 pages to about 2 paragraphs. It was boring. It was boring as hell, to tell you the truth. Throughout our history, strong, tough, visionary women have defended our flag, strengthened our communities, explored new frontiers, and expanded the American dream for all of our children and all of our people. Now, patriotic American women like those in this room are helping lead our nation into the golden age of America. And that's what we're calling it. This is the golden age of America. We want to do things that nobody thought were possible. You know, had I done it the more traditional way, which I actually did, but we won't talk about that. But had it been the, 4 + 4 as opposed to floor 4, let's see how bad they do, and then we get another 4 at numbers too big to rig, we call it. We have to go out too big to rig. They tried, but it was too big to rig. Had we done it that way, it would have been nearly as important or nearly as historic. It's much more historic. It's a much more important presidency. And frankly, because of how bad they were, we're able to do things that we could have never done if it were traditional. I don't think, Marjorie, we would have ever been able to have done the things we are doing now. You see what we're doing with the colleges, and they're all bending and saying, sir, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And nobody can believe it, including law firms that have been so horrible, law firms that nobody would believe, and they're just saying, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Nobody can believe it, and there's more coming. But we really are in the golden age of America, and I think you're going to see it more and more as we go along. Together, we're beginning our country's greatest era, and we're building a future that will be stronger, safer, healthier, and happier than ever before. And you're really going to be the leaders. I think you're going to be the dominant leaders, and you have a lot of them in this room politically, but just the fact that you're here and the fact that you're with us is so important. There's nothing like strong, beautiful, wonderful women. You have the heart, you have the whole spirit. You're amazing people, and it's an honor to be with you, and we're going to work together, and we're going to make this the greatest age in the history of our country. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, so that was President Trump addressing Women's Month. Man, the timing is perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. I couldn't have timed that better if I planned it out myself. So what we're waiting for right now, and it was scheduled for 4, it's now 4:30, so perfect timing, waiting for him to begin his live press conference with Howard Lutnick, as they're going to be talking about the new tariffs that they're going to be putting on all kinds of imported automobiles from other countries. So he's about to spank Canada pretty bad. Here's Ashley. I thought she had something. So just wanted you guys to know that was a Women's Month, and now we're waiting for the information on the tariff. So as soon as that starts, we'll go ahead and run with it. I'm going to have to take a second and get the feed reconfigured and get that ready. And as soon as I do that, then I'm going to talk to you about some news. So not going to run a commercial, just going to run the break. I'll be right back.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I just love that. It allows me to go do what I need to do, the housekeeping I need to get ready for, and so that I can seamlessly move from thing to thing. Now, I wanted to give you a quick programming note because we're doing this extended Donald Trump 2 event thing today. I'm not going to be doing a night show. So what I will be doing tonight, for those of you who didn't see it or may want to see it again, I am going to be doing an enlarged, what I mean is not enlarged, enlarged, a longer child sex trafficking show tonight at about 7:30 or 8. I'll post it when it's ready. This thing is, you're not going to want to miss this. This is, I'm telling you, you're going to open your eyes to some things. Maybe some of you might make you a little leery of what was going to go on. So you guys, some of you saw the interview I had with Jaco What a name, Jaco Booyans. I'm going to be putting that on, but I've got a lot more attached to that I think you guys will find very interesting. Ashley right now is trying to get a hold of and see if I can't get John Amanchaku to come on beforehand. And the reason is this. The interview with Jaco was so compelling, so hard, that, you know, I want John to talk about some of the stuff he's doing with child stuff, and then I also want him to give a prayer to people, because I think, and I talked to Rob, because we got to get in the right mind before you hear what Jaco said. If you haven't seen it, it's quite graphic. It is quite stunning. I mean, there were a couple of times during the interview that, boom, my head snapped back. I'm like, dude, I wasn't prepared for that. YouTube, I had to cut it out, so it's not even on the show he was on, but I do have the interview in its entirety. So tonight, again, 7:30 or 8 o'clock, depending on what John Amanchaku's timing is, we're going to go live on Rumble and X. No YouTube. YouTube, I can't touch YouTube with this, with what we're going to do tonight. And I've got some other things I want to talk to you about. And in case you guys don't know, how can I say this? If you're not, because I have to be careful here, if you're not familiar with Chris Cornell, used to be the lead singer of Soundgarden, phenomenal voice, and Chester Bennington, the former lead singer of Linkin Park, another phenomenal voice, a lot harder than what Chris Cornell did. Excuse me. I've got some music from both of those artists, and we're going to play a song from Chris and a song from Linkin Park, and I want you to hear what these guys were saying. Both of these young men at the time committed suicide, but there's a lot of strange things that came out about these two young men, and the stuff that came out about these two guys really leads you into a very dark hole. And I'm going to explain some of that. It's going to be eye-opening. You're going to hear these two songs. I couldn't even play the songs on YouTube. YouTube would freak out. So I'm going to be playing those songs. We're going to talk about what the words of those songs are, and how compelling those words are. It's real deep. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about Chris Cornell. I'm going to talk about Chester Bennington, going to play that song, going to bring in John Amanchaku, tell us what he's doing, what he's finding out in the school systems, and the work that he's been doing, maybe play a couple clips of his movie, and then we're going to jump into Jaco's interview. So that's going to be about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So I'm still paying attention for the notifications. He has not come out yet. In fact, RSBN has gone to like they're showing the old press conference, so not really sure when he's stepping out. Let's see here. Barry will be on Rumble tonight. Yep, that's it. I'm going to put the billboard up on X so you guys will see when, and you'll have the actual link and everything. Everything is the same, except there won't include any YouTube. Let's see here. Black Hole Sun? No, that's not the song. That's not the song, but that's a good one too. So that's going to be, yes, thank you. You're going to love it. Well, I hate to say you're going to love it when we're talking about a subject matter. It's going to be compelling. How about that? I went down a rabbit hole and affected my soul. I cried for days. When you hear if you didn't hear what Jaco had to say, you can ask I can't really say it here. You can talk to maybe some of the people in the chat who have seen it. And wow, just wow. Let's see here. Yeah, Donald is always fashionably late. Well, I knew he was going to be late. I wanted to time it this way because there was no way he was going to get off stage, running down the White House and go to... No, he can take his time, probably, refresh himself, wash his face, and, whatever he had to do, make sure Howard Lutnick is ready, make sure he wanted to see what the speech is. So I knew there was no way he was going to make 4 o'clock p.m. No possible way. So I was prepared, but I just wanted to give you guys that programming note. Yeah, I had heard stuff about Kobe Bryant as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Valerie, Where'd that go? So, in case you guys don't know how both of these men met their demise, I just mentioned to you that they both committed unaliving, but Valerie's tapping into what it's all about. You know, there was a special kind of unaliving that certain people are like, that's deep state notification there. I'm going to tell you about it. So, again, I want you to pray before we get into that, and I hope you join me tonight over on Rumble and on X, because I can't dare put that here. I don't even know if they like me talking about what I'm gonna talk about. That's how bad it is. In the end, well, you know what? If you've heard that song, the song I'm gonna play is probably even better. But the record company didn't want to push it. See, that's what I'm going to talk to you about. In the end, I'll play that's too, but Chester Bennington and his soul and what he was going through, and, you know, the guy's top of the charts. Chris Cornell, top of the charts. In fact, I won't get too far into it, but it's just some goosebumpy type stuff. So we'll talk about that. All right, so we're waiting for President Trump to step out. He has not as of yet. So what I'm going to do is continue with some news I have for you. So after all this stuff this morning, those of you guys who saw it, you know, the press conference, everybody screaming, what are we going to do? You're giving away state secrets and all this crap. And I do call it crap. It was crap. Pete Hegseth, which you guys knew earlier, came out and had some words. So let's listen to what Pete Hegseth had to say about this.
Beautiful day when we're on the road, talking to the troops. And actually,
I'm sorry if the sound on this one is kind of bad. He was at the airport. He was obviously getting ready to board a plane. I don't know why they do this. I don't know why they talk at the airports with all the engines and stuff, but nonetheless, this is Pete Hegseth.
Real time, reestablishing deterrence. You see, that's what President Trump has charged the Defense Department with doing. Reviving the warrior ethos, rebuilding the military, which we're doing in real time, and reestablishing deterrence. And that's why we're heading out into the Indo-Pacific to talk to our allies and partners and meet with the troops. And anybody that knows me for years and knows President Trump knows how much we love the warriors. That's what it's about. The men and women who serve, who do the tough, difficult, gritty, dirty work that most Americans will never know about, but we have the privilege of seeing and understanding the courage and skill of what they do. I'm going to go see that for the next couple of days. We also have seen it on full display in what's been done to the Houthi terrorists and what they're trying to do, close freedom of navigation. So you see, under the Biden administration, we let our troops and our ships, and both warships and commercial ships, get shot at to no consequence. What does that look like? That looks like weakness. And what President Trump has said is, peace through strength is back. We will reestablish deterrence. That's not acceptable. And our ongoing campaign against the Houthis has been devastatingly effective. Now, as I said to this group a couple of times on this trip now, as we move to the Indo-Pacific to do our job, which is what we're here to do, nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning. You know who does attack plans and war plans? Men like that admiral right there, Paparo, for the Indo-Pacific, or Eric Kurilla, our general in CENTCOM. They do attack plans and war plans, and thank God we have those leaders who do it and do it well, and our enemies know it. My job, as it said at the top of that, everybody's seen it now, team update, is to provide updates in real time. General updates in real time, keep everybody informed. That's what I did. That's my job. The war fighters will take the fight to the enemy, and I love what they do. And with President Trump's leadership, our enemies are on notice. We will have peace through strength, and we'll keep putting our troops first. Thank you very much. We're heading off
strike plan
to the rest.
before they launched. Mr. Secretary, how do you square what you said with what your messages show? Mr. Secretary, did you share classified information? Mr. Secretary.
So what's very interesting, as you heard that, and you heard the cacophony of the reporters who are asking questions they've been told to ask. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Did you share this? Did you do that? Well, at this point, it's either this way or that way. Either you believe Pete Hegseth and you believe, I read it. I don't know if you guys have read it. And what you're going to hear later on, of course, I have time to do it before President Trump gets on, and Pete Hegseth just said it. It could have been a war plan. Do you know why it could have been a war plan? Because it didn't name anybody. It didn't say we're going after, Ayatollah Assahola #1 in his garage in Afghanistan. It didn't say any of that. It didn't have a single name, didn't have a single target, didn't have a single location. That would be one really bad war plan, wouldn't it? I mean, how are you going to say, I'm going to blow up John when John's in his house in Miami, when you don't say it? Just said, 4:15, bomb. 4:35, XYZ. And it's just words on a page. Now, some people are construing that is a war plan. Well, even the guy who said it in the Atlantic is pulled back and said, no, it's not a war plan. The Atlantic has now come out and said it's an attack plan. Oh, an attack plan. That's a little bit different. So it's not a war plan. It's an attack plan. And then Elizabeth Warren, realizing that it's neither war or attack, she's calling it sensitive information. After I read it, if you haven't, you should probably read it. After I read it, I was like, I would want that out. And you're like, Barry, why would you want that out? Because all of our enemies, all around the world, saw that something was happening. I don't know where. I don't know who. I might be a target. Look around up there. You see any drones? Something might be happening. And so everybody who transferred that information and how they put it out, they actually helped. Believe it or not, they actually helped American forces, because it put everybody looking over their rear end. They had to wonder, is it me? Are they going to drop a bomb at me at 4:15? I don't know. And then the guy who did get the bomb at 4:15, everybody else, oh, it was him. Wasn't me. Wasn't us. Sorry for Abdullah, but it happened. And so these people are all screaming about nothing. I even see people on the right screaming about it. I saw, who was it? I don't even want to mention her name. But she's like, call it semantics, call it whatever you want. It was still stuff that shouldn't have been disclosed. How do you know? And that's the only thing I'm saying, because for that to have been disclosed, and for that a mistake like that to have happened, everybody around it would be incompetent. So if the mistake happened and it was this Wong guy, well, it took 24 hours to sniff him out, didn't it? All right. This is J.D. Vance in the speech from earlier. Hopefully we can get this all in before President Trump starts.
I had never made it to Quantico myself, but, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to run for vice president. I thought maybe it was time for the colonels and generals to listen to the corporals for a change. How's that sound? So you all know how big of a part of the Marine Corps was of my life and how important it was for me. And I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, from one Marine to another, thank you for your service. We're proud of you, and I'm proud to be here with my fellow Marines. God bless you guys. Now, some of you may know that the Marine Corps there are a lot of good things the Marine Corps did for me. When I joined the Marines back in 2003, I was just a kind of directionless kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And as you all know, the Marine Corps is good at giving direction to 18-year-old kids. But It also saved me from making one of the worst financial decisions that I have ever made. And as you guys probably appreciate, there are often these, used car dealerships outside of Marine Corps bases. You know what I'm talking about? And I remember when I was probably a 19-year-old kid, I was going to buy a used Honda Civic at one of those used car dealerships. And the dealership was kind enough to offer me the low interest rate of 21% to buy that used car. And it was a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant, Gunny Arledge, who said, you know what? Why don't you stop being an idiot, go to Navy Federal Credit Union and get a better deal? And Gunny Arledge saved me from making a terrible mistake. And that's what the Marine Corps does. That's what you all do, from the NCOs to the officers here. You guys help form our young people into United States Marines. And that is, I think, the best thing the Marine Corps does for the United States of America. I'm proud of all of you. As General Chuck Krulak said, the Marine Corps does two things. It wins battles, it wins wars, and it makes Marines. And that's a pretty good damn thing to do for the United States of America. So I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud of what you do. And most of all today, I'm proud that I think under new leadership, the Marine Corps and the entire United States military is headed in the right direction. And that's why I'm here today, to talk a little bit about what we're going to do, talk a little bit about President Trump's vision for the United States military, and importantly, after I do that and I serve some chow at the chow hall, I'm going to go shoot some guns, right? So here's the thing. Under President Trump's leadership, we believe in a very simple principle. We don't care who you are, where you came from. We don't care what skin color you are. We care about excellence, and we care about patriotism. And if you are awesome and you are a patriotic young Marine, then we are going to do everything that we can to make you the most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. And that is what we're doing every single day. No more quotas, no more ridiculous mumbo jumbo, no more diversity trainings. We believe the real strength and the real diversity in the United States Marine Corps is that you all come from every walk of life, come from every corner of America, and you have got the strength and the purpose to win the nation's wars. And that is what the Marine Corps is going to do, just like it's done for damn near 250 years. Now, speaking of that, as my dear friends, and as a lot of you know, well, maybe you don't, 'cause a lot of young faces out here. That's the thing. I'm 40 years old now, and I realize that compared to when I joined the Marine Corps, I'm an old-ass man now. But here's the thing. The best friends that I've ever made in my life, I've made in the Marine Corps. People who came to my vice presidential inauguration and the president's inauguration just a couple of months ago are people that I first met in boot camp, or first met in follow-on school, first met at my first duty station. People who have held my children when they were little babies. People who I've helped welcome new children into the world. You guys have no idea that the people standing to your left and to your right, these are lifelong friends. They're going to follow you around, whether you want to or not, for the rest of your life. And I think that's one of the great blessings of the United States Marine Corps. And one of the things I learned from my great Marine friends, they remind me, is that this November, of course, our great Corps is going to celebrate 250 proud years. And as I know, because I've been to a few Marine Corps birthday balls myself, I'm sure it'll be a total sober, no alcohol celebration for the Marine Corps' 250th birthday. But from one Marine to another, let me just say that we are excited to celebrate the Marine Corps' 250th anniversary, 250 years of winning wars, 250 years of kicking ass and taking names. So here's the basic plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to invest in the Marine Corps and the entire United States military like we never have before. Over $1 trillion we're going to invest in building up the manufacturing base of this country so that you guys, when you do go to war, when you have to go to war, you've got the best weapons anywhere in the world. We know from the long history of the United States of America that while the leading edge of American power is you all, it really matters what you guys have in your hands and what you guys have on your backs when you go to war. And so I promise you, from the President of the United States, we are going to send you, if we have to send you to war, with the best equipment, the best ammunition, the best weapons, and we are going to empower you guys to win when you have to. That's the purpose of the United States Marine Corps, am I right? So that's what we're going to do. And of course, I got some good news. You know, over the last few years, some of the military branches had some recruitment problems. Not the Marine Corps, actually. The Marine Corps was the one branch that consistently met its recruitment goals. And that probably has something to do with the fact that the Marine Corps is a little bit smaller, as you all know. But this year, now, we have got every single branch of the United States military for the past 2 months has been meeting its recruitment goals, because I think I see in your faces what we're seeing all across the country, a renewed sense of patriotism, a renewed commitment to excellence, and that is what is going to make the United States military the strongest fighting force anywhere in the world. So thank you all. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for being part of 250 years of great American tradition. Thanks to you guys for being willing to put on the uniform and serve your country. I always say that the most important thing that we have in this country, the most valuable natural resource, we got plenty of oil, we got plenty of natural gas, we got great mines and minerals, but the most valuable resource that we have in the United States of America is you all. It's young people who are patriotic and dedicated, who are willing to put on the uniform of the United States and risk your lives to defend your fellow citizens. That's an amazing thing. I know it's easy to forget when you go about doing your jobs and you're just worried about getting through the day, worried about, getting to the next week, worried about doing the good job that all of you do, that what you're doing is an amazing thing. And it's easy to forget that because, you don't always have the vice president dropping in to say thank you. But I want you to remember that whether you serve another couple years in the United States Marine Corps, whether you're at the beginning of a 20 or 30-year career, that we respect you, we thank you, and this Vice President and the President of the United States know that you guys are the most important resource that we have in the United States Marine Corps, in the United States of America. So thank you all, and God bless you. And the final thing I want to say here is I was actually, and I know I was late. It's funny. That is not Marine Corps time, my friends. I remember Gunny Arledge always told me, if you're 5 minutes early or 10 minutes late. I'm sure you guys have heard that phrase. Well, what does it mean when the vice president is 2 hours late? I guess I'm on time, because who the hell is going to get me in trouble, right? But here's the thing, my friends, is I left, the reason I was a little bit late is because I was in the Oval Office talking to the president. And I stood up and I said, "Sir, I know we're in the middle of something, but the Marines at Quantico are waiting on me." And he said, "Oh, I didn't realize that. You got to get out of here. You got to get out there." And I said, "Do you have a message you want me to deliver?" And the President of the United States said he wanted me to tell you two things. First of all, that he loves you. And second of all, that he's proud of you. So let me echo the President. Let me echo a grateful nation. You guys just keep on doing what you're doing. We love you. We're proud of you. And we're going to support you every single step of the way. God bless you, Marines. Semper Fidelis.
That's pretty incredible. And somebody commented, it's amazing how they cheer in unison and stop. Hoorah! It's not like a sustained clapping where they all go. They say it and it stops just like that. I'm like, wow, that sounds. It almost sounds like a track. But I've never been in the Marines, so their cadence, everything must just be on. Maybe some of you guys here in the chat who might have been Marines could say, is that practice? And is that how you respond? Because it was pretty incredible. So he's not out yet. So we're going to continue with this charade, this eminence front that's been happening all about this signal gate. Check this out.
Any names in the signal chat?
No.
Any targets?
No.
Any locations?
No.
Was there a unit name or location of that unit?
There was not.
Were there any routes described in the signal chat?
No.
Wouldn't an operational plan contain that type of information?
Every operational plan I've ever seen has contained that information.
Thank you. Shifting to the real threats to America, the southern border.
Director Gabbard.
So he just said what I said earlier. If I don't know, I would ask my brother, he's a colonel. I would ask some of you maybe, but an operational plan versus an attack plan versus just, here's what we're thinking about doing. There was no names, nothing. And you just heard him say that, and Tulsi Gabbard confirmed it. I think there's one more guy here that says the same thing.
The target terrorist named in the text, or was it simply referred to as target terrorist?
The target was not named.
Thank you. Was the location named?
Congressman, no locations were named.
Thank you.
Another day has passed.
You know, somebody earlier said I was being redundant. And in in the chat they said that. And one of the reasons why is because sometimes people don't get it. It doesn't sink in. You got to hear things a couple times. So even in this hearing, they had to remind people a couple different times. Hey, there's nothing here. So you can be mad and everything else. So speaking of mad, one of these ladies who was at the hearing decided she wanted to take on Kash Patel. It didn't work out like she planned.
Actually, it was the night before the hearing.
Now that another day has passed, do you believe that it's now time potentially for the FBI to open an investigation into this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Because you're the director of the FBI, you don't believe it's appropriate to comment on that?
Because there's a process in place, there's an ongoing litigation, and the National Security Council is reviewing this matter.
Now, see, that's what I said earlier. That's where the Democrats didn't. Big mistake. When I told you earlier that they had a lawsuit ready to file, that they jumped in front of the calendar and got it in front of Judge Boasberger, now you've given everybody a reason to go, I can't discuss it. There's a pending lawsuit. Shuts it down. Big mistake for the media, big mistake for the lawfare people to do this, because now none of these people in Congress can do anything. I can't discuss it. We got a lawsuit. You can get mad all you want. You can go scream to MSNBC and CNN, but it doesn't change anything. There's a lawsuit. We can't move forward.
I'm not going to discuss any open or closed investigation.
That ongoing investigation, literally, the lawsuit happened today or
I don't care when it happened. See, that's the problem. Oh, it just happened today. Well, okay, whatever. What? Your problem, not mine.
yesterday afternoon. And the idea that you don't have an opinion on this at this point is frustrating to me.
No, it's not. I'm not going to prejudge any matters, and the men and women of the FBI will call the balls and strikes.
Reclaiming my time.
So you could see again, here's that tactic, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. What you didn't hear, she was screaming over Kash Patel. He's like basically said, I don't answer to you, and I call balls and strikes. And she didn't hear, but everybody else like, oh, spanked it, spank it, Kash. While you worried about reclaiming your time, you got spanked.
Not you.
Sir, Mr.
Does the president feel that he was misled by his national security advisors, whoever it was that told him there was no classified information in there, now that he's seen the...
Now, you saw this earlier when we covered the press conference. Caitlin Collins, who I've never even seen smile, ever, not even on her show, she gets put in her place real quick here by Caroline Leavitt. Very quickly she puts her in her place. And what I loved about this angle, I didn't have this angle earlier. Just look at the seething that's going on inside of Caitlin Collins.
Messages.
I've now been asked and answered this question 3 times by the both of you, and I've given you my answer. The president feels the same today as he did yesterday.
Okay.
Philip.
And on my follow-up on what you had just said.
Go ahead, Philip. Caitlin, I'm not taking your follow-up.
I have a follow-up on something you just said, though, Caroline. That's
Caitlin,
regarding
I'm not
Jeffrey
taking
Goldsberg.
your follow-up. Philip, go ahead. I have called on you.
The vice president seemed
Ultimately,
Yeah, you think you're big badass, Lily badass, not Billy, you're Lily badass, and you just got schooled on national television. You've been turned into a meme at this point. Caitlin, I'm not taking your question. I loved how she stopped. I cannot believe that Caroline Leavitt is, 27? And she's got that kind of savvy. She could have just said, no, I'm not taking your question. Caroline, like her mom was talking to her. I'm not taking your question. Love it. Don't take crap from these people. So now they realize they're getting pushed back, they're getting rebuked, and there's nothing they can do except run to the confines, the open arms of MSNBC to spew utter crap.
stops with the President of the United States of America, which is why I made clear to President Trump yesterday in my correspondence that the Secretary of Defense should be fired immediately if he's not man enough to own up to his mistakes and resign in disgrace.
Personally, I think, Hakeem, I'd love to see you go up to Pete Hegseth and question his manhood like you tried to do on television where there's nobody around you. walk up to Pete Hegseth and say, I don't think you're man enough to resign. So that way, Donald Trump should fire you. Well, after they pick you up off the ground, you'll find out how much of a man he is. But by the way, I wouldn't hold my breath that Donald Trump is going to fire Pete Hegseth. He knows that's not going to happen. He knows full well that's not going to happen. But again, they just go, it's the media. It's the media. It's the media. That's all they want to do. This guy, Hakeem Jeffries, his career's done. Maybe he should wake up one morning and realize, I'm never going to be anything but a talking head for these people. You're not going to be, maybe you can be a senator out of New York once, what's the name? Chuck Schumer retires. But beyond that, you have no ladder to climb in politics. You're done. You've reached the pinnacle of your career. From here, you can just be an MSNBC contributor. That's it. Nothing else. It's crazy. So there was another hearing going on at the same time. Let's see. I'm looking here. Nope, he still has not come out. There's another hearing going on. And it was a Doge committee hearing chaired by Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they were talking about the defunding of PBS and NPR. That had some good fireworks as well. Let's listen in.
In fact, when Elon Musk put his hand over his heart and extended it and told the American people his heart goes out to them, PBS News posted the clip, called it a fascist Nazi salute, and described how it was similar to the same Heil used by Nazis at their victory rallies. Not once did PBS or NPR report on the numerous accounts of Democrats making the same gesture. AOC, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, somebody that lost a presidential race, Hillary Clinton, Governor Tim Walz. Why wasn't this treated exactly the same way? Is there not a standard in journalism today? Apparently not.
Miss Maher,
So she's so right, because one of the things that amazed me as I was looking around the internet today, I saw this. A black Nazi. Did you ever think you'd live to see a black Nazi? Well, she's one. She's obviously one. These people are batpoop crazy.
With you, just generally, would you say you generally agree or disagree with the following statement? The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles?
I would not say I agree with that, sir.
That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe
these people are just evil? And she's been doing all kinds of stuff, all kinds of social justice, virtue signaling crap all over. She's done TED Talks where she actually said the First Amendment isn't something that we should be upholding, that it's not anything that, it's malleable. We can play with it. And this is, I believe she, at this point, is the president of NPR. I could be wrong. Let me see what her title is, because she was up here testifying about this. Here, listen to more of her while I look this up.
white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't. You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. Ha, how white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said
it. Yes, she did. I checked. She's the CEO of National Public Radio. And she's lying. I don't know if these people were sworn before they sat down, but he caught her. Did you ever say this? No, I never said. Oh, yes, she did. yeah, we caught you.
In January of 2020, you tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a...
These people can lie with just complete calmness. It wasn't about fiscal reparations. Well, what kind of reparations you talking about? I don't think anybody's been talking about any other kind of reparations. They want money. They don't want a pat on the head and say, oh, yeah, it was bad before, and you guys, you did so much, we just want to recognize you. Now, go ahead. What other kind of reparations you talking about? This is how evil these people are. Speaking of evil, let me just show you something. I know I've been saying, and some people have questioned me on it, I know I've been saying that at this point, just like the guy in the 17th letter of the alphabet has said, it's going to be the military that fixes things. They are making it more and more apparent, and I'm seeing the signs that President Trump is going to have to declare some form of martial law, maybe a partial martial law. He's going to have to do something. Next exhibit on the martial law plan. The D.C. Federal Appeals Court just blocked President Trump from deporting the Venezuelan gang members via the Alien Enemies Act. The Supreme Court must step in now. President Trump must be allowed to carry out his duty to protect Americans from foreign invaders. SCOTUS has the power to give the Trump administration emergency relief as soon as they file and allow deportations to resume immediately. Get it done. So now we're two rungs up on this thing. We went from the district court, and now the appellate court has said, no, you don't have the power as the president of the United States to actually secure the border. Funny, I didn't know that. I'm pretty sure President Trump didn't know that. Oh, that's the wrong thing, wrong camera. I'm pretty sure that's ridiculous. How can the President of the United States, how is it possible that the President of the United States does not have the power to deport aliens? How is it that our court system at this point is so messed up that an appellate court in the United States says that the President cannot deport people? All right, we have arrived at the Tariff conference. We'll pick this up shortly thereafter. All right, here we go.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you today. We just celebrated Women's Day at the White House. It was fantastic, attended by a lot of great women, All women are great. So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know. And we're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest, And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made. What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We started off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy. AI is coming back to levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's a new, sort of a new business, I guess, when you think about it. But it's plants are going up all over the United States, and many of them have already been started. We're getting early electricity taken care of. We're getting permits very quickly for them. And we're going to make their life very happy. They're coming in with tens of billions of dollars. Individual plants will cost 10, 15, even 20 billion dollars. We're going to let them build electricity generating plants along with their plant. And they can't even believe it. And we're going to get them very quick permits, as I've done always. I did that in Louisiana with 2 LNG plants. I got them one permit in 1 day after waiting 14 years and the other one in 1 week after waiting for 12 years. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country. In Indiana, the great state of Indiana, I love Indiana. Honda is building one of the biggest plants anywhere, and they've just started. They wouldn't have done it without this. In all cases, they wouldn't have done it without what we're doing. So we'll effectively be charging a 25% tariff. But if you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff. And what that means is a lot of foreign car companies, a lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant. But their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly. But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites. They're looking for mostly sites. They don't want to take the old buildings that are empty and falling down. They want to build new, and there's tremendous action. There is likewise for other companies and countries like the chip making process. Your chip bill was a disaster done by Biden. All he does is give tremendous amounts of billions of dollars to chip companies that will do nothing with the money. They're not going to use the money here. They're going to just keep it. They have plenty of money. The one thing they have is they have a lot of money. In our case, all we're doing is saying you can't come in unless you build here. And the largest chip company by far is manufacturer from Taiwan is building here. And it'll give us almost 40% of the chip market just with that. They're spending almost $200 billion in the United States to build a plant, and they've almost started. They'll be doing much of the work in Arizona. So we have a lot of exciting things, but to me, this is one of the most exciting. Now, outside of one specific day, and that's Liberation Day. That's the real Liberation Day of America, and that's going to be in April 2nd, and I look forward to it. We'll have a little news conference. We'll talk about it, but this is very exciting. So we're signing a executive order today that's going to lead to tremendous growth in the automobile industry. As you know, the electric mandate that we did allows you to buy a car now with electric or gasoline powered or hybrid. You can buy any car you want. We had it so that within a short period of time you had to buy all electric, and the country could never provide the money necessary to build all of those power plants that you would need all over the country. As you know, in the Middle West, they built 8 power stations. That's like the size of this desk or smaller. And they ended up spending $9 billion on 8. And of the 8, 4 of them didn't work. And we're not doing that. So you can buy electric, or you can buy gasoline, or you can buy hybrid, or you can buy whatever you want to buy. And that's the way it should be. The market's going to determine that. And you're going to see prices going down, but it's going to go down specifically because they're going to buy what we're doing, incentivizing companies to, and even countries, but companies to come into America and build. and we're already setting records for new plants. I think the new plant number, the tally is just within a period of a few weeks. It's very large. I want to be accurate. It's very large. And I'd like to ask Will just to come and give some of the basics, and then I'll sign it, and it's off to the races. I think our automobile business will flourish like it's never flourished before. Yes, please, Will.
Thank you, sir. As you stated, we've prepared for your attention a proclamation imposing a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and light trucks. This is in addition to tariffs that are already in place on those goods. In addition to, as you said, spurring increased domestic manufacture of cars and trucks, we expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now, but starting right away. I think we'll go from 600 to $1 trillion within 2 years, and I think we'll be right from the beginning, we're going to be at a very high number, right from the beginning. And right from the beginning, you're going to have a lot of construction jobs, but you're also going to have a lot of automobile jobs. So this is very exciting, but it's also exciting because of what's happening with other aspects. We're going to be doing tariffs on pharmaceuticals in order to bring our pharmaceutical industry back. We don't make anything here in terms of drugs, medical drugs, different types of drugs that you need, medicines. It's in other countries, largely made in China, a lot of it made in Ireland. Ireland was very smart. We love Ireland. But we're going to have that. We're going to have lumber. We're going to free up some of our land. And you'll be able to meet a lot of other standards like fire cuts. If Los Angeles had fire cuts, which they didn't have, that's a gap of half a football field between areas. You wouldn't have had the fires. They would have been contained. But you have fire cuts, and by the way, you sell that wood for a lot of money, a lot of profit is made from that. But we're going to be doing lumber. We're freeing up our land so that we don't have to use outside sources of lumber. Energy, we're doing fantastically well at. The energy prices have been coming down rapidly as we increase supply, and we've already done that. We have Chris and Doug are doing a fantastic job in that. That's Department of Energy and Department of Interior. And they're working together hand in hand because Interior has the land and Energy has the ability to do the drilling and do what they have to do. Our coal areas are going to be opened up for clean, beautiful coal. Germany's opening up mini coal plants now. They tried the wind and it didn't work. They almost went out of business. They almost went bankrupt. They tried wind, which is a disaster because it's too expensive and it doesn't look good, kills all the birds, a lot of problems. But Germany is now building a lot of coal plants. China is building one a week. Think of that. And they're using coal, which is very powerful. Coal is a very powerful energy. And we're opening up our coal mines again, and we're going to do, I call it beautiful, clean coal. The technology is so good now that coal can give you tremendous power at the same time. It can be very clean. But we're also obviously doing oil and gas and various other things. You can do pretty much whatever you want. We don't like the wind because we think it ruins the landscapes, the plains, ruins them. And it's got a lot of problems. It's also by far the most expensive energy. It looks horrible in the oceans. It's dangerous in the oceans in terms of navigation. And if you look at what's happening with whales, in one area, they lost 2 whales, like in 20 years, washed ashore. And this year they had 17 wash ashore. So there's something happened out there. There's something driving the whales a little bit loco, but they lost 2 in 20 years. And now they lost 17 in a short period of time. So it's something wrong out there. So this is very exciting. This is going to lead to the construction of a lot of plants, in this case, auto plants. And you're going to see numbers like you haven't seen, both in terms of employment. It takes a little while. You're going to have great construction numbers initially, and then ultimately you're going to have a lot of people making a lot of cars. And one other thing, we have the Speaker of the House with us, who's doing a fantastic job. And where's Mike? And we're trying to get approved. Mike, thank you very much for being here. we're trying to get approved, if we can. If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving. A lot of people in that part of the world, in terms of buying cars, a lot of them don't think in terms of deductions. People that think in terms of deductions are very wealthy people, but people are going to start understanding what a good deduction is all about. So when you get a loan to buy a car, and I think it's going to pay for itself. I don't think there's any cost. I think you're going to have so many cars built, but you're only going to get that deduction of interest if the car is made in the United States of America. So I'm going to sign this, and Mike, I hope you can get that, because I think it's going to be amazing in terms of the number of cars that are going to be made because of it. And I want to thank Howard Lutnick, our fabulous commerce chairman. That's what he is. He's a chairman. He's a very successful guy, a great guy. And we have a big day, Howard, coming up next week. Liberation Day. That's Liberation Day. That's going to be on the 2nd, and that's going to be reciprocal. And I think people will be impressed. We're going to be very fair. We're going to be very nice, actually. We have not been treated nicely by other countries, but we're going to be nice. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised, but it's going to make our country very rich, because we're the piggy bank that everybody steals from, and they've been doing it for many years, for decades, so we're not going to let it happen. So, but we're going to treat people very nicely. We're going to treat other countries very, very nicely, and I think it's going to have a very positive effect on everybody, including those other countries. So I'll sign this, and we will see you again on April the 2nd. In terms of this, it's going to be another round, and it's about making America great again, making it strong and prosperous again. Thank you very much.
So Mr. President, on tariffs, can I ask you about tariffs, Mr. President, on the car tariffs? How do you assure that a car coming into the country is fully built? Could an automaker in Germany say, leave the tires on?
Policing, and it's pretty easy to do. If parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts are not going to be taxed or tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned. For the most part, I think it's going to lead cars to be made in one location. Right now, a car would be made here, sent to Canada, sent to Mexico, sent all over the place. It's ridiculous. So this is a very simple system. And the beauty of the 25, it's one number. It's not up or down depending on the cost of the car. It's one number. And that number is going to be used to reduce debt greatly in the United States and to build things, reduce taxes. I mean, basically, I view it as reducing taxes and also reducing debt. And within a fairly short period of time, I think we're going to have a balance sheet that's going to be outstanding. Yeah.
How do you assure Americans then that this will not cause a long-term increase in prices?
Well, look, I think we're going to have a market the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, not in this country. You know, we had the best market ever in my first term. It was the strongest market ever, the best economy ever. And I think I think this blows it away. But this is something that people have wanted to do, presidents have wanted to do for a long time. A lot of them didn't understand it. It wasn't a priority for them. But foreign countries understood it very well. And they've really ripped us off at levels that nobody's seen before. But that's not going to happen.
Mr. President, is this for today or on April 2nd, the auto tariffs?
Say it?
Are these auto tariffs going to affect today or on April 2nd?
They go into effect on April 2nd. We're signing today. It goes into effect April 2nd. We start collecting on April 3rd.
I suppose do you have any more sectoral tariffs that are coming in on April 2nd?
What does that mean?
Any more tariffs on any other sectors on April 2nd, for example, chips or pharmaceuticals?
Not then, but we will be putting a tariff on lumber. We, as you know, have a tariff already on steel and on aluminum of 25%, and we're taking in tremendous amounts of dollars. More importantly, our steel factories and aluminum factories are roaring. They're starting to roar. They're building new ones. I just heard from Nucor, which is a big company, a very big steel company, and they're building a massive plant for steel that they wouldn't build without this. So you're going to see things that are going to be actually amazing. And I think you already have. We've had some news conferences where I can't have enough. They want to do news conferences where they announce they're going to spend 20, 30, 40 billion dollars. But Apple, as an example, is spending $500 billion. Okay.
On the Signal chat, Senator Roger Wicker.
Hold on one second.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Reciprocal tariffs next week. Will those be immediately effective April 2nd on all countries, or will you focus on the worst offenders?
No, we're going to make it all countries, and we're going to make it very lenient. I think people are going to be very surprised. It'll be, in many cases, less than the tariff that they've been charging us for decades. So I think people are going to be very, very surprised.
Why is on these auto tariffs?
I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I think we're trying to keep it somewhat conservative.
And on these auto tariffs, we saw obviously the NASDAQ 100 go down 2% at close, S&P 500 down 1%. What are you?
Is that today? Today?
Yes, sir.
I didn't say that. I want to see the jobs. I want to see that'll all take care of itself. That could take care of itself in 1 day, 2 days, or 1 week.
Are there any conditions under which you'd remove these auto tariffs, sir, or is this permanent for the rest of your term?
Oh, this is permanent. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Are you on the auto tariffs? Did Elon Musk advise you at all on these auto tariffs?
No, because he may have a conflict, so we don't talk. I've never talked to him. Elon's amazing. He's never asked me for a favor in business whatsoever. I'm actually a little surprised by it. I might do it, I might not do it. I do what's right, and he'd want me to do what's right. No, he's a patriot. He has never, these are big deals we're talking about. This is probably nothing like this. And I've never had Elon come and say, would you do me a favor with the mandate or the electric mandate or anything. He's never asked me for anything.
Sir, also, what's the response? The administration should take more accountability and not downplay.
Well, I don't know about downplaying. The press upplays it. I think it's all a witch hunt, that's all. I think it's a witch hunt. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there, but I can tell you the result is unbelievable because the Houthis are looking to do something. They want to know, how do we stop? Can we have peace? The Houthis want peace because they're getting the hell knocked out of them. It's been very, very strong. The Houthis are dying for peace. They don't want this. And they're bad. Look, they were knocking ships out of the ocean. We had in the Suez Canal, they only have about 20% of the ships going through. They have to go through a different way.
That's not me. There's some buffering on X. Hold on.
They've been hit hard, and they want to negotiate peace. But I don't think they're quite. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know. I can only tell you this. You don't want to talk about it. The Houthis have been horrible to the world. What they've done, killed a lot of people, and knocked down a lot of ships and planes and anything else. It's not just the ships. And they have been hit. They have been hit harder than they've ever been hit. And they want us to stop so badly. And they've got to stop. They've got to say no mas. But I can only say that the attacks, it's attacks every day, every night. It's not just the one. You're talking about one. The attacks have been very successful, even beyond our wildest expectations. We've hit them very hard, very successfully. And we're going to do it for a long time. We're going to keep it going for a long time.
Senate Republicans have asked, said that they have formally asked the administration for an Inspector General report on the Signal issue. Will you agree to that?
It doesn't bother me. I don't know. I want to find if there's any mistake or if Signal doesn't work. It could be that Signal is not very good. It's a company. Maybe it's not very good. I think we'd rather know about it now. There was no harm done because the attack was unbelievably successful that night, and it has been unbelievably successful every single night for the last 4 or 5 nights. So, and that's the thing that you should be talking about. This is something that should have been done by sleepy Joe Biden, but he was asleep at the wheel other than when it came to stealing money, of course. Joe Biden should have done this attack on Yemen, which is basically a certain group within Yemen, the Houthis, and this should have been done by Joe Biden, and it wasn't. And that's caused this world a lot of damage and a lot of problems.
He's responsible, but he's also overseeing the investigation to find out what went wrong. Maybe
who's responsible?
But Wiles says that he's responsible.
Well, yeah, Mike Waltz, I guess he said, he claimed responsibility, I would imagine. Had nothing to do with anyone else. It was Mike, I guess. I don't know. I was told it was Mike. But again, the attacks were unbelievably successful, and that's ultimately what you should be talking about, I think. No, Mike did, he took responsibility for it.
His position over this.
Say it?
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals ever made. The greatest companies in the world are moving into the United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal, and we use Signal, and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
Have you been briefed about soldiers in Lithuania?
Say it?
Have you been briefed about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
Have you spoken, sir, with the big three automakers about these tariffs? What was their reaction?
I have.
What was their reaction?
It depends on whether or not they have factories here. I can tell you, if they have factories here, they're thrilled. If you don't have factories here, they're going to have to get going and build them, because otherwise they have to pay tariffs. Very simple. And most of those have pretty big factories here, like General Motors has big factories here. They're going to move their parts divisions back to the United States, because some of them were made in Canada and some of them were made in Mexico and other places. They'll be moving their parts division back to the United States in factories where they may be at 60% capacity, so they don't even really have to build too much of a factory. But, generally speaking, if they have factories here, plants here, where they make their cars and equipment, but they make their cars here, they are thrilled. Same thing with the steel industry. Steel industry is now paying a 25% tariff, as you know, I put it on last week, and the business is roaring in the United States. And we can't, because of military, we can't lose the steel industry. If I didn't put the initial tariffs on steel in my first term, you wouldn't be able to have a military, because we wouldn't have, every steel company would be bankrupt in the United States, and every plant would be closed. But now they're booming. And putting this tariff on, this additional tariff for steel and aluminum, it's making them thrive. And it's already happened.
Coming up on the deadline for the TikTok sale, will you extend that deadline if you don't have a deal? Do you support Oracle?
Well, we will have a form of a deal. TikTok is very popular, very successful, very good. We're going to have a form of a deal, but if it's not finished, it's not a big deal. We'll just extend it. I have the right to have the deal and to extend it if I want. So we'll see whether or not we have a deal. We have a lot of interest in TikTok.
Is there a way for a U.S. company to operate it and ByteDance to still have a share of the algorithm?
Well, there are numerous ways you can buy TikTok, and we will find the one that's best for the country, for our country. I'm worried about our country more than anything else with respect to TikTok. And China is going to have to play a role in that, possibly, in the form of an approval, maybe. And I think they'll do that. Maybe I'll give them a little reduction in tariffs or something to get it done, because every point in tariff is worth more money than TikTok, if you think. Every point. Tariff is a much bigger world, and TikTok is big, but every point in tariffs is worth more than TikTok. So in order to get China to do, maybe I'd give them a reduction in tariffs, as an example. Sounds like something I'd do.
You think tariffs are going to be good for Tesla, sir?
Good for who?
Tesla, which makes it.
Well, he is a fantastic Tesla. Will tariffs be good? I think they may. It could be a net neutral, or they may be good. He has a be good. I think they may. It could be a net neutral, or they may be good. He has a big plant in Texas. He has a.
Well,
anybody that has plants in the United States, it's going to be good for, in my opinion.
Mr. President, the European Union has ruled against
education control to the states. How would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policy?
I haven't seen a mask in so long. You're wearing a mask. So nice of you. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in a long time. It's good. You feel more comfortable, right?
Yes.
Good. That's good. So go ahead.
You said you want to return education control to the states. How would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policies you disagree?
All right, the White House feed keeps messing up.
like California would be tougher for education, but what I would see with California is you'd have a Los Angeles department, and you'd have Riverside, you'd go to various places, and I think you'd have some great areas in California, and then you'd have some, like everything else, that doesn't work so well. But ultimately, I think it would be very successful. I think in New York, as an example, you'd go to Long Island, Westchester, you may have Nassau County, Queens County, you break it up in certain ways so they'd have maybe 5 departments, because of the size, they'd have 5 departments instead of 1. A state like Iowa, you'd have 1, and I mean, they're just chomping at the bit to get going. So many states are chomping at the bit to get education, and it's going to happen fast, to get the education.
Well, they're having problems. They're having problems with both feeds. All right, so let's go to this one.
I mean, I tell you what, you have 40 states, in my opinion, that will be as good as Norway, Sweden, Denmark. You take a look at those 3 are top, among the top, and they've been there for a long time. But I think you'll have a lot. Finland is very strong. China's the top 10. And that's something considering the size, so it's not only a size thing. But Norway, Sweden have been very good. Denmark has been very good. I think you have Iowa and Indiana, and a lot of our states will be equal to them. But they can't be equal if it's going to be run in Washington. We don't want that. Yeah.
President Director Gabbard testified that any information that would indicate that the U.S. or its allies are going to make an attack should be classified. The Secretary of Defense has said that the information in those messages was not classified. Are you going to ask him to review whether it should have been, should flight time?
All right, everybody. Various feeds.
You can view that 2 ways, frankly. There's a lot of ways to answer that question, but I'd certainly ask him to take a look at it.
So Mr. President, when they did this, in hindsight, should they have
Well, there may be a problem with the platform. And if there's a problem with the platform, nobody should use it. They could have a basic problem. But, I say it again. Not that I'm looking for lethality. I wish we didn't have to do it at all. But they're shooting down our ship. And we can't allow that to happen. And again, this.
So just so you know.
Time ago, or 1 or 2 more.
Vice President's comments.
Various feeds are having all kinds of issues, so we're trying to do our best. I understand RSBN is completely down right now. Yeah, see, it keeps getting stuck and buffering, and RSBN is completely down. They're not even showing it.
In Europe, they don't let us do very much. They treat us very badly. One of the reasons I'm putting tariffs on is that reason. We take millions of their cars, BMW, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz. We take millions and millions of their cars. And they have non-monetary tariffs where it's impossible for us to sell a car, almost, in Europe. And so I understand what he's saying. Same thing with NATO. When I got involved, these mostly European countries, as you know, we had 28 at the time, and only 7 were paid. And most of them were not paid. 20 some odd countries were not paid, or they were substantially less than they're supposed to be. And the United States was literally making up the difference in Europe, and it's very unfair. So I understand. I didn't know he made that statement, but if he did, I mean, I'm okay with it. I complain about it all the time. The European Union treats us horribly on trade, and NATO has treated now. I raised a lot of money for NATO, hundreds of billions of dollars. You were here last week when the Secretary General said, because I got them to pay money. It was unfair. The United States was paying 80, 90, 100%, okay?
You said it would be more lenient than reciprocal.
All right.
I think if I did to them what they did.
So I'm trying to see if this thing is going to fix. He keeps coming back.
It'd be much more lenient.
Oh, well.
You'll see on April 2nd, I'm going to be much more lenient.
So.
They were really bad with us, I tell you.
I'm
They
trying
should
to
have
let it
stepped
play.
up. They should have stepped up and done something, and they didn't do it. And hence we have 36.
But,
Mr. President, you've criticized Jeffrey.
And that might be it. I noticed that RSBN and Live on Fox, they went down, so I don't know what's happening. Yep, there it goes. Just so you know, it wasn't me. You can see resuming shortly. This is from the White House. That's the White House logo. This is their feed, and that's not nothing I did. The feeds on RSBN all over the place are down. And so, but he said he was only going to take one or two more questions, so that's probably going to be it. Excuse me. In case he does come back, I'll leave that up. And if he comes back, we'll hear him talk. So I'll just leave it running. If they go to that's all, folks, then I'll change. But if he comes back, of course, he's a president. So he said a couple things, and I'm just as I'm watching this, he talked about the market, and one of the reporters tried to talk to him about the market. You know, the market is the market, and it's able to be manipulated. And so what's happening right now is
He joined his wife instead of sending her. She was going to go solo to the dog sled race, and now he's going on Friday.
Who's going
The
into
vice
the...
president. Usha was going to go to Greenland on her own.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think you may have JD going, actually. Yeah. I don't know if they've split that up, but Usha's great. But I understand JD might be going.
So the European Union has voted or decided against Apple and Google during the Digital Markets Act, and they're the first U.S. companies they targeted with that. An Apple executive told me they believe that it's politically motivated because of the tariffs on April 2nd.
The European Union is suing a lot of our companies, like Apple, and they have 17 billion.
And he's done.
Facebook, they're suing a lot of other companies, and they use that money just like a tariff. They go before judges that are very...
All right, so just so you know, it's not me. My stream is fine. Like I said, RSBN is totally down. They're not even covering it anymore. And that's it. I mean, I wanted you to see that so you know it's not me. That's the actual feed window that I'm showing you. They're trying to get to the end. It's not going to work for them. Again, I can talk to you until he comes back on. I don't mind. So anyway, he was talking about the market, and he said it'll take care of itself. The market will take care of itself. There will be people doing profit taking. There will be people doing panic selling. There'll be people from outside the United States that are going to have to react to these tariffs. It just happened. He just said it's going to happen. They're going to start collecting it, I think he said tomorrow or on April 2nd. Some people in the chat were asking, what the hell is Liberation Day? Well, Liberation Day is a term that President Trump has coined for April 2nd. On April 2nd, okay, they canceled it. So thanks you for joining. All done. So on April 2nd, what is going to happen is he's going to basically right the ship. All these countries that have been charging us for so much money, now he's going to charge them back. I have put on a screen many times the Canadian tariffs that they charge us. In case you haven't ever seen that, let me show you that. Because nobody in the media, for some reason, talks about that. And they just think we're being the bad guy. Let me see if I can find that chart. And you'll be amazed when you see how much they're charging us. And it's huge, huge amounts in terms of what Canada charges America. Here it is. Let me show it to you. Here's one chart, because it's very interesting to see this. But once you see it, you realize what's going on. This is what Canada charges us on the right side. Dairy products such as cheese, milk, and butter, they charge us 200 to 300% tariffs. Nobody talks about that. On poultry, chicken and turkey, 100% or more. Trump's going to do it right back to them. On eggs, 100 to 250%. Wheat and grains, 10 to 25. Sugar, they can keep that. Canned fruit and vegetables, 50 to 150. And on the left-hand side, you can see what Trump wants to charge them. So I have a question for anybody who's complaining about us raising tariffs. Why are you not complaining about what other countries charge us? I mean, it's very simple. You can find it anywhere. These are just some of Canadian tariffs on America. Milk, cheese, butter, Poultry, eggs, barley, wheat, and so on. Peanut butter, 295%. The media will never say that. Oh, Trump and these tariffs is going to hurt the American economy. Well, what are they doing? Did you know about that? Did you know that we get charged tariffs? All Trump is saying is on April 2nd, that all changes. It all goes back and we're going to start charging you. We're going to level the playing field. We are going to make deposits instead of cutting checks. Democrats don't want that. They want your money going out. They don't want people paying us. It's as clear as day at this point. They want you broke. They don't want you making money. They don't want you prosperous. They don't want a prosperous America. Why would they be fighting to keep gang members in the United States? Why would they be fighting to have taxes lowered? Ask yourself that. Why would you want taxes to be high? Why do you want to send $600 million to an Australian university? Why do you want to spend $350 billion to Ukraine? What? We don't have anything to do with this. But that's what they keep complaining about because they want a pseudo-Marxist communist government. And you can see the Code Pinks and everybody else. That's what they're pushing for. That's crazy. Canadian here. Yeah, you're correct, Barry. People don't talk about it. There is so much information about what other countries charge us that the media never even discusses it. And because of that, you don't hear about it. And you wonder what, is Trump being a bad guy? Because all the other presidents didn't care for some reason. I don't know what it is. I really don't know why they have done what they've done, and they've let other people take advantage of us to this extent. Excuse me. Let me read a quick notice. Before I read the notice, I want to show you guys something. This is interesting. Okay, some of the people here in chat and what they're actually saying at this point. And I want to share this with you because it makes me feel really good. It makes me feel really good. Freebird says, I received my knife. Very nice, very well made, was worth the shipping costs. This one is by Everyone Loves My Trump Knife by John Owens. Everybody loves my Trump knife. Let's see here. Atuna Bricks. My Trump knife arrived in the mail today. I ordered it on 3/22. Very fast service, and it's beautiful. I'm glad. Here it is. Here is the Trump knife. Right here. And so if you want to order this, you can just click on the QR code right over here, and it's $13.99 shipping only. It says, folks, Trump is finally back in the office, and it's only going to get better from here. As a celebration, Patriot Addict is sending our free Trump red knives to people who vote for Trump. Just scan the QR code right there to get yours now. This is just their way of saying thank you for supporting him and being part of this moment in history. Normally this knife retails for $70. And this isn't some cheap knife. And you can grab it just for the cost of shipping, which is, I believe, again, is $13.99. Scan the QR code right over here to apply your 100% off coupon and claim your Trump knife before they're gone. And, I mean, this is, I keep showing people that it's a really, really nice knife. Very sharp, so I got to be careful. But you can see how big it is. Here's my hand. Having played football, somebody goes, man, you got some big-ass hands. Yeah, I got a big-ass hand. And this knife is probably, I'd say, about 9.5 to 10 inches in terms of how long this knife is. It's heavy. It's durable. You can try to bend it. Again, it's got the seatbelt thing here where you can slash the seatbelt. You can poke in the window. Try not to stab myself as I'm displaying the knife. I'm not a spokesmodel, hand model and everything. But if you want that knife, it is $13.99 for shipping, and the knife is free. It's yours. It's very that simple. All right, so let's continue with the show. I have the rest of my videos I had in place here, so let's finish watching them.
Bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay. How much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone to pay
Seems to be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally
law.
wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You
illegal.
tweeted, "It's hard to be mad about protests," in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't.
You are the CEO of NPR. I don't know anything about it. Do you condone looting? Do you think it's morally reprehensible? I can't answer that until they kick in your front door, until somebody burns your house, or carves the name Nazi in your car. How do you feel about it now?
I believe that was at my time
You
at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
do you think that a few years ago, NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of
I'll take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate. Your health advisor at NPR also stated in an interview that, quote, fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat. Would you like to explain how fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat? That's an editorial at NPR.
I am not familiar with the editorial, and I don't believe that was published during my time here.
It's called Diet Culture is Everywhere. Here's how to fight it. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I think any reporting on health is an appropriate use.
When did it become okay to not look and go, hey, you need to lose a few pounds? God knows the woman I love out there, she's making sure that my diet is better so that I'm healthier, so I can do this, so I can be around for my grandkids. And these people are out there going, yeah, it's okay to be a fat slob. Thank God somebody like Lizzo decided, however she made her money initially, she said, I'm going to go and lose some weight. I want to be able to spend this money. But you got people like this witch at NPR trying to say diet is fat shaming.
You've spent
dollars, yes.
And you think that editorializing that fat is not unhealthy is appropriate?
I don't know what that article is, sir, and I'm not familiar with it, so I couldn't say.
Fake news. Do you think that basic accommodations like doorways or seat belts represent, quote, latent fat phobia?
I don't have an opinion.
It's also from NPR. Do you think civility is racist?
No, sir.
No. Your outlet ran an article entitled, quote, when civility is used as a cudgel against people of color. That was on All Things Considered. Would you like to explain?
I'm not on the editorial side, sir. I'm not familiar with that.
Civility is racist. Being nice to people is racist. That's an NPR article. Being nice to people is racist. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with these people?
That story.
You talk about how NPR is news. This is editorialization, and I'll read it. For many people of color in the United States, civility isn't so much social lubricant as it is a vehicle for containing them, preventing social mobility, and preserving the status quo. This is garbage. I'll spend all of my time doing everything I can to ensure you guys never get another dollar of taxpayer funding. This is complete garbage.
You're a rat. Until people who don't listen to NPR are shown what NPR and PBS do and how they run things, because I don't watch it. You probably don't tune into NPR. You probably don't watch much of PBS, maybe Big Bird and Sesame Street if you have kids. But other than that, you never tune in there. And so they've had their way for years and years and years of saying whatever kind of BS they want. As he said, garbage. They've had their complete freedom to do that. And she's the CEO. Gets paid well with your money. And so now that, the Trump administration and DOJ is talking about cutting NPR and cutting PBS, which I don't think has any value whatsoever, these people are starting to wig out.
But progressive. And do you not think it's a problem that your political leanings make it seem to the American people that you're not biased and that you're not doing your job? Because you agree that your job is to have journalistic integrity, right?
Absolutely, but there is a strong firewall between the newsroom and anything that I
Let's talk about the newsroom. You have 87 registered Democrats, not a single Republican in your editor board. So, how does that work to give us the perception that you're doing your job of actually delivering unbiased information?
I have a question, and I don't know why it was never enforced. But I would think that if you're getting government money, you're being funded by you and me, why isn't everything 50-50? Why isn't there, you talk about affirmative action and all. Why can't you say to an organization, if you take government funding, your employee base, your directors, your leadership, everything from top to bottom needs to be 50-50? Pure and simple. Infuse different, wait a minute, there's a word. How about diversity and inclusion? Oh, I forgot about that. Why is there no diversity and inclusion in these agencies, in these networks? For the same people who beat the drum constantly, DEI, why didn't you practice it? That would be the most simple of diversion and inclusion. Include 50% Republicans and include 50% Democrats. Just split it right down the middle. Maybe even further. Make it 33, 33, and 33. Put some independents in there. Do something. Diversify. Include.
I agree with you that number is a concern if it is accurate. I do believe that we need to have journalists who represent the full breadth of the American society so that we can report well for all Americans.
Well, I think that you are failing. I realize you've only been there for a year, but I just really think that while it is a small portion of your budget, you very much should expect to restructure your revenue streams, because I don't think that NPR is necessarily worth saving.
About emergency management, and they don't care about...
Here she comes. Yeah. Prepare yourself. Breathe. Here comes ghetto fabulous Jasmine Crockett. So I showed you a couple people beating up on NPR and PBS. Here's the person that they chose to build up NPR and PBS. Enjoy yourself here. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Free speech, all of which are harming American people. In fact, I'm going to skip off real quick because they have tried to come for you, Ms. Mayor, and I just want to clarify, you did not work for NPR when those statements were made, did you?
That is correct, Madam
And to be clear, free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing, because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else. And the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the...
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Press.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
That woman was trying to quote the Constitution? Oh my God. She's a walking, talking, breaking axe to a Constitution, and now she decides she wants to quote the Constitution. Oh my gosh. Democrats, good luck. Keep propping her up. I hope it works for you.
Everybody, Tim Burchett, just leaving oversight, DOJ committee, and NPR and PBS were on the stand, and they needed to be. It's just unbelievable, the far left agenda that they're allowed to perpetrate on this country at taxpayers' expense. Could you imagine if Fox or Real America's Voice or anybody else, Newsmax, if they were allowed to receive federal money? I mean, there'd be an outcry, and there should be. And it's not a First Amendment issue. They can say whatever the heck they want. Americans, the American taxpayer, shouldn't have to pay a dadgum red cent to it. I hope we get the guts and start passing some things to start saving American taxpayers money. It's time. It really is. Thank y'all for saying.
Your money, my money, Robin's money, your husband, your wife, your money has been stolen. And these people are so flippant about it. That was, you saw the CEO of NPR, just, yeah, whatever. Yeah. She's like Kathleen Turner. She didn't have any emotion. Don't care. Just keep paying me. I make gazillions. Nothing you say bothers me, because as soon as you cut off the money, we're going to run to the court and we're going to make sure that we, keep funding us, because you mean nothing. April 2nd is coming up, and President Trump has been calling it Liberation Day. You know what would really make it Liberation Day? If he says this year, April 15th is canceled. We're not going to have anybody have to send in your taxes. You would literally see people's heads, I mean, basically probably self-immolate. They would catch on fire if they couldn't take your money. Force them to stop what they're doing. It's a shame. I don't even know where the law came from that people have to take money out of your paycheck every couple weeks or whatever it is. Because that basically sentenced people to a life of prison, because they have really no way of making sure the government doesn't take their money. They take it whether you like it or not. You can change some things on your W-4 your W-4. But even that, I have to plead with you not to take my money. I got to jump through hoops and fill out different forms so you don't take my money. And then you try to BS me and bamboozle me by saying I got a refund in a little bit of time after that. No, you're paying back a loan with no interest. You took money out of my paycheck. You took money for an entire year, and then on this mystical day of April 15th, I got to tell you how much you took, because you may want more. And then if I don't owe more, then lo and behold, the chart says I get a refund, and people are so happy that they get a refund, not realizing it's not a refund. It's money they took from you. It's your money. It's not a refund. No interest. They've been taking money for you the whole year, and you don't get any interest on that money. And then they'll take it back from you. Oh, how did they take it back? I don't know. Excise taxes, taxes on this, make you pay more for stuff. They get it back. Remember when everybody was so happy because they got their stimmy, and they got their, was it $1,200, $2,500 stimulus check? Oh, yeah, I got my stimmy. You don't think you paid that back? If you don't think Biden made you pay that money back, you're not following a law. You paid that money back in spades. Somebody asked me, can I give the website for the Trump knife? Unfortunately, Donna, that's what we've been talking to Patriot Attic. We're trying to get a website set up because everything was the QR code, and I know some people can't do the QR code. So stand by. We are working with them to get that knife, but get a an actual website. Yeah, you're right, Barry. What is a refund? A refund, if you bought this pen and this pen didn't work, or you bought this shirt, or you bought something and you bring it back to the store and said, I purchased this, it's not working, can I have a refund? And then they refund your money. If you buy something on Amazon, you click a button, doesn't fit, broken, whatever, and they'll give you your money back, right? So, you actually transacted something. What'd you get from the government? What did you agree to buy? What did you buy a pen from the government, and at the April 15th they give it back to you? No. You didn't buy anything. They just took it from you. Put it in this perspective. Imagine Amazon just said, you know what? Barry, you haven't bought anything lately, and we got some credit card information on you. We're just going to take $50 a month. What? What do you mean? You're just going to take it? What would you call somebody who takes your money without your approval? What would happen? Well, that's called theft. Right? Not many of you approve of the government taking money every 2 weeks. You're told that's a condition for getting paid. You didn't pay anything. How the hell is the refund? I can't work here if I don't allow these people to take money out of my check. That's one hell of a bad deal. Hey man, how much you paying me? We're going to pay you 50 grand a year. Great. So that means, I'm going to get about $1,000 a week. Oh, no. We got to tell you about this. This thing called FICA. And they're going to take about 20, 25, 30% or more out of your paycheck. I don't work for FICA. So when you ask what is a refund, you have to ask what you bought. Let's see here. H&R Block and tax people make up refunds. Yeah, it's called being a thief. If someone takes money you don't want them to have, that's called stealing from you. And, I don't have any problem if the tax rate was a certain rate. And you could say, you know what, I think what this government is doing makes sense, and I feel so comfortable giving you guys 20, whatever percent. Fill in percent. But I think if you're honest and you've seen everything that Doge has exposed, all of this, and there's still more coming, how comfortable are you giving the government money? That's a personal question. And I would love to ask some liberals, hey, everything you've seen, you're still okay? Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, you don't pay taxes. That's right. That's right, I forgot. You don't pay taxes. You're in this group. You're in this group that sucks off the government, and you just don't want us all to pay more. I worked through all the lockdowns. Nurses didn't get to sit on their butts and make money for doing nothing. When you pay your taxes, it's just your cost to keep yourself from going to jail. So you're essentially paying the VIG. It's like a mob movie. The protection racket. You just keep paying us. Maybe that's where protection rackets came from. They looked at the government business model and went, so if they don't pay, they come and put you in jail? Yeah. So if I walk up to you and say you don't pay, I'm going to beat you. Same thing. Either pay me or Moose and Rocco here are going to take you out back. And Moose and Rocco are just going to make you hurt. I'd rather take an ass whooping from Moose and Rocco than the government just taking everything. Boston Tea Party occurred when taxes were 4%. Exactly. So I just wonder with everything we're seeing right now, and sometimes I think to myself when I talk to Robin, are we starting to see the bubbling up of something much bigger? Because I don't know how much more most people are going to be able to take. You guys are seeing it every day in the news. You're seeing the lawsuits. You're seeing these judges. And I got to believe people who are paying attention are just sitting back going, there was one lady earlier, she's like, I can't even look at this anymore. It's pissing me off. My stress level has gone to here. And what I want to tell you about that is don't get stressed. Don't get yourself to the point where you just want to scream. Take that anger, take that stress and say, you know what? I need to do something about this. I need to figure out a way to make sure that I'm okay, my family's okay, and then everybody else comes after that. I got my church, my tithe, whatever you're doing, my family, and then my country as well. But at the same token, your country's not taking care of business. Your country, as you have seen, doesn't give a crap. So now I just feel like we're building to this crescendo where you're letting the illegals in and you're doing all this stuff and you're fighting the president and you keep wanting to raise our taxes and it's just coming to a crescendo. And like President Trump said in that press conference, he actually said to one of the press reporters there, He's like, with all this good news, with everything that we're doing, this is all you want to talk about? Why are you not talking positively? Why are you not talking about the drop in price in eggs? Why are you not talking about the drop in price in gas? Why are you not talking about what you and I see on a daily basis? When we go to a store, when we're buying stuff for our family, why are you not talking about any of that? How is your agenda so anti-America? And that's essentially what it means. That every question, he sits there and he's like, you talking about this thing again? Let me ask you a question. And I would ask the reporter, let's say Pete Hegseth, Mike Waltz, they screwed up. Tulsi Gabbard screwed up. And they let this thing go out. Whatever. They had this guy on the thing. Okay. It's been found out. Yeah. Okay. What? What's next? That's the entirety of your story. There's nothing else. This guy got a hold of this information. It didn't affect anything. The raid went off as planned. And now we got to fix what's broken. If I agree with you 100%, where's the story? How does that affect Joey in Oklahoma? I put it right back on him. Tell me how it affects Betty in Idaho today. But over here, we have egg prices down 50%. Don't you think Betty in Idaho really cares about that? You see, they are so out of touch. They're making a story. They're pushing it. It's on 24/7. And the rest of America's like, I don't care. I don't care. That's why their ratings are failing, because you're talking about stuff over and over and over that people don't care about. And you would have thought they learned something from November 5th, but they don't. They don't go out and, like I said, my grandkids and Ashley were down here for spring break. And it was packed. I mean, packed. And Jesse Waters sent, one of his reporters down there to interview some of the kids. They don't have a clue. Nobody's watching Fox News. They're on a beach. Nobody's watching CNN until they got to go to the airport. All they know is, guess what? Grandpa and Grandma and Mom made sure we had one hell of a good time. And those kids with their smiles made sure that we had a good time. And it didn't matter how much we spent, because it was worth it. And none of us were like, man, I cannot believe that they posted this stuff and people saw it. Who cares? It's March Madness. There's teams getting ready to play in the quarterfinals tomorrow. You think they're sitting back going, I don't know if we should be playing this game. Why? We could be playing this game, but shouldn't we be thinking about everything that's going on with Signalgate? I guarantee you that conversation's not happening. I guarantee you there'll be 20,000 people in the stands. The games will be fantastic. Doesn't matter who wins or loses. It's going to be exciting. And not a single person in those stands is sitting there going, this reporter. So I want to tell people, don't stress, because it doesn't friggin' matter. There are so few things that the government does that affects you on a personal basis. And one of those things that they're trying to make sure you don't focus on is stealing your money. That affects you on a daily basis. And as you get closer to April 15th, that anxiety is like, I'm going to have to write this check. And like, I've seen what you guys have been doing to me. It's like making dinner for an abuser. You beat my ass and, I got a black eye, but I'm cooking you some chicken without spiking it. Or another way of looking at it is your kids. Your kids are so bad today, they broke everything up. But you know what? I'm going to take them to Dick's Sporting Goods and treat them to everything. That's what April 15th looks like to so many people right now. I know you've been abusing me. I see all the abuse you've been doing. And now let me reward you. It's so crazy. I'm trying to connect my Robo Barry Can't See You Live. Hey, Toy, I'm live, so everything's still green, nothing wrong. It's good. Yes, focus on saving yourselves. Do whatever you need to do. You're exactly right. All right, everybody, I'm going to, I need to look at some super chats here. Let me tell you what's going to be happening tonight. So tonight I'm going to be on Rumble and X only at about 8 o'clock is what we're going to be looking to do. Let me just unpin this message. And it's going to be a very in-depth discussion about trafficking. And we're going to talk to John Amanchikwu. We're going to talk to him live. And if you guys have never heard anything by John Amanchikwu, you're going to really be, you're going to hear some things from him. He's a pastor who's doing a lot of work with kids. And then I'm going to replay my interview with Jaco Buyens. And I'm also going to lead off the show with some stuff about Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell. So can't do it here. It's only going to be on Rumble and X. So I hope you guys can check it out. All right. So Jared Weidrich, thank you very much. Nancy Jennings, for a funny take on the Snow White, please check out Mirror Mirror on the Wall. Oh, what a messed up thing Disney has become. Ann Lake, thank you. Just another knucklehead Trump, grab him by the parsley. Mr. Anderson, I'm 100% behind Cody to do the 3-minute intro. Cody. Was Cody the one who sent me the music? I will have to check that out. NTD's feed worked well all the way through. Okay. They must have had a different camera. Terera Gurakani, thank you. DJ, the resale value of my SUV just went up by 25% because of Trump. Thank you. And Tara, again, Barry Remain Media for all the news. Thank you very much. Lynn C. Mosley, I got mine. Hubby won't take it. He's not a fan of Trump. I think he's a little jealous. I put it in my curio with my dad's 22 pearl handled Derringer. There you go, girl. Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the after party. Is 30 minutes enough? You guys, I mean, I know a couple of guys in here wanted to start a Discord on their own, which anybody can do. I can't stop anybody from doing that. I can't possibly be involved in it, however, because we're just stretched too thin. So I didn't know if you wanted me to extend this thing from 30 minutes to 45. I don't care. I mean, I see RSBN and some of these guys, they put on repeats, but, you know, if I need to make it a longer beach video, that's fine too. Anyway, check me out on Rumble in about an hour. Thanks for watching.